Test 2, take 5. Yeah, I need something to relax myself, because everything is going wrong. Well, it's getting better, we're coming closer, but so many silly things are going wrong now. I find a lot of mess and a lot of garbage on this table, which is supposed to be my dinner table, eating table, whatever you may call it. You can call it anything. I'm looking for a spot to place my book, where it doesn't slide away, where it's remote enough to read what's written, and light enough, lit enough. Still not working properly, but it's getting closer. So much poop here. Such a big mess. Ooh. Yeah. That's not a problem, this mess. I can throw it all away, but I won't do that, because quite a lot of things that I still need, but not now and not here. And I'm getting a bit angry, and a bit obnoxious, and a bit rebellious. So let's see. This is 2.5 pages, almost 3. So that should be less than 10 minutes. Way less than 10 minutes. Starting now. Chapter 7. A short dictionary of misunderstood words. Concluded. See, I can't read it. I can't fucking read it. No. From here? Yeah. There are houses running along one side of the street. Oh, there's a subtext. The paragraph text is the Old Church in Amsterdam. There are houses running along one side of the street, and behind the large ground floor, shop front windows, all the whores have little rooms and plushy pillow armchairs in which they sit up close to the glass, wearing bras and panties. They look like big bored cats. So many errors in one paragraph, one tiny little, only 4 sentences. So I'll have to redo that. And that's one other problem with this project. I cannot edit videos. I cannot merge them. I can't cut things out, because my computer is Vista, and the only software, free software, open source software that can do that requires Windows 7 or higher. And I don't have the money for such a machine, so I have to make do with what I have. But being able to make mistakes, making a mistake is not bad, but making 10 mistakes in 5 sentences is horrible. That means restart. And in this video I won't restart anything. This is take 5 of the second test, only the second test. So I'll start again. Chapter 7, a short dictionary of misunderstood words, concluded. The Old Church in Amsterdam. There are houses running along one side of the street, and behind the large ground floor shop front windows, all the halls have little rooms and plushy pillowed armchairs in which they sit up close to the glass wearing bras and panties. They look like big bored cats. On the other side of the street is a gigantic Gothic cathedral dating from the 14th century. Between the horse world and God's world, like a river dividing two empires, stretches an intense smell of urine. Inside the old church, all that is left of the Gothic style is the high, bare, white walls, the columns, the vaulting, and the windows. There is not a single image on the walls, not a single piece of statuary anywhere. The church is as empty as a gymnasium, except in the very center, where several rows of chairs have been arranged in a large square around a miniature podium for the minister. Behind the chairs are wooden booths, stalls for wealthy burghers. I'm beginning to doubt this project. Okay, let's go on. The chairs and stalls seem to have been placed there within... Damn it! The chairs and stalls seem to have been placed there without the slightest concern for the shape of the walls or position of the columns, as if wishing to express their indifference to or disdain for Gothic architecture. Centuries ago, Calvinist faith turned the cathedral into a hangar, its only function being to keep the prayers of the faithful safe from rain and snow. Franz was fascinated by it. The Grand March of history had passed through this gigantic hall. Sabina recalled how, after the communist coup, all the castles in Bohemia were nationalized and turned into manual training centers, retirement homes, and also cow sheds. Reading like this is not... More light. I need more light. Okay. And also cow sheds. She had visited one of the cow sheds. Hooks for iron rings had been hammered into the stucco walls, and cows tied to the rings gazed dreamily out of the windows at the castle grounds, now overrun with chickens. Not bad. Not everything communism brings is bad. Okay. It's the emptiness of it that fascinates me, said Franz. People collect altars, statues, paintings, chairs, carpets, and books, and then comes a time of joyful relief, and they throw it all out like so much refuse from yesterday's dinner table. Can't you just picture Hercules' broom sweeping out this cathedral? The poor had to stand while the rich had stalls, said Sabina, pointing to them. But there was something that bound the bankers and the beggars, a hatred of beauty. "What is beauty?" said Franz, and he saw himself attending a recent gallery preview at his wife's side. And at her insistence. The endless vanity of speeches and words, the vanity of culture, the vanity of art. Let us be clear, the wife is not Sabina. Sabina is the mistress. The wife is the one he wanted to divorce from in the previous episode. I read. So, let's continue because time is precious. When Sabina was working in the student brigade, her soul poisoned by the cheerful marches issuing incessantly from the loudspeakers, she borrowed a motorcycle one Sunday and headed for the hills. She stopped at a tiny remote village she had never seen before, leaned the motorcycle against the church and went in. A mass happened to be in progress. Religion was persecuted by the regime, and most people gave the church a wide berth. The only people in the pews were old men and old women, because they did not fear the regime, they feared only death. The priest intoned words in a sing-song voice, and the people repeated them after him in unison. It was a litany. The same words kept coming back, like a wanderer who cannot tear his eyes away from the countryside, or like a man who cannot take leave of life. She sat in one of the last pews, closing her eyes to hear the music of the words, opening them to stare up at the blue vault dotted with large gold stars. She was entranced. What she had unexpectedly met there in the village church was not God. It was beauty. She knew perfectly well that neither the church nor the litany was beautiful in and of itself, but they were beautiful compared to the construction site where she spent her days amid the racket of the songs, pop songs, beat songs. The Mass was beautiful because it appeared to her in a sudden, mysterious revelation of a world betrayed. The Mass was beautiful because it appeared to her in a sudden, mysterious revelation as a world betrayed. From that time on, she had known that beauty is a world betrayed. The only way we can encounter it is if its persecutors have overlooked it somewhere. Beauty hides behind the scenes of the May Day parade. If we want to find it, we must demolish the scenery. This is the first time I've ever been fascinated by a church, said Franz. It was neither Protestantism or asceticism that made him so enthusiastic. It was something else, something highly personal, something he did not dare discuss with Sabina. He thought he heard a voice telling him to seize Hercules' broom and sweep all of Mary Claude's previews, all of Mary Ann's, his daughter, singers, all lectures and symposia, all useless speeches and vain words, sweep them out of his life. The great empty space of Amsterdam's Old Church had appeared to him in a sudden and mysterious revelation as the image of his own liberation. Whoa. And that's what I mean. Whoa. There's hardly any chapter that doesn't finish with a whoa. Yeah. See what I mean? And how long did it take? It's still running. Okay. had been chatting for a couple of minutes before I started to read. We're 15 minutes into the video now. And these were almost 3 pages. Okay, if I'm well on my way and well trained by the routine of the project, I may make it to 9 or 10 pages in half an hour, but I think it's the best option is to start with smaller divisions. And what a division is explained in the first comment, the pinned comment in the first video of this series. So yeah. But you see what I mean? There's only a man and his mistress have taken the train to Amsterdam with some excuse of a business meeting or whatever. He's a surgeon or something like that. I don't know exactly what he is. I'll read it again anyway, so it doesn't matter what he is. But his wife is a painter, and his daughter Marianne, Marie-Anna, Marie-Claude is his wife, Marie-Anna is his daughter, and she's spoiled rotten by her mother, and she hates her father. She doesn't hate him, she despises him. So it's a very, very, very good reason to take a mistress and a couple of days off together in Amsterdam or other places. They go to Paris, they go to whatever, Geneva, Zurich. They live in Geneva, if I'm correct. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. The details don't matter. They're totally unimportant. But the things, the magic that happens in every little subdivision, sub-story, sub-paragraph. It's a paragraph or a chapter of 3 sub-paragraphs, maybe. Yeah. And this was only the first. It was the Amsterdam Old Church, and the other one is Strength. France is very strong. And Living in Truth. That's the third one. And they both have clashing views on each of these captions. And they're not always clashing in the sense that they argue about it. No, they're different views. Different. Not clashing, different. And sometimes perpendicular. Completely opposite, whatever. Why don't you ever use your strength on me? She said. Because love means renouncing strength, said Franz softly. Sabina realized 2 things. First, that Franz's words were noble and just. Second, that they disqualified him for her love life. Whoa. That's the end of the strength sub-chapter. And later on she leaves him and he gets a new student girl, and he uses his strength then, finally. And I'm now in the fourth part of the book somewhere. Soul and body again. And the first was body and soul. Damn it. Soul and body, soul and body. Lightness and weight, that's part 1. Soul and body, part 2. Words misunderstood, part 3. Soul and body, part 4. Lightness and weight, part 5. The Grand March, part 6. Karenin's Smile, part 7. And Karenin is the dog of Thomas and Teresa. I'm finished for this video, so bye. As always, leave comments, leave likes, subscribe, whatever you want. I'm not particularly keen on ad hominems, so keep your comments polite or don't place them. Constructive criticism is always welcome. Bye!